Everybody out here in the audience has got up this morning and went to church without one excuse. Okay? Hit it, Sam. Excuses, excuses, you'll hear them every day. Now the devil, he'll supply them if from church you stay away. When people come to know the Lord, the devil always loses. So to keep them folks away from church, he offers them excuses.
Tell us, Jim.
Well, in the summer, it's too hot. And in the winter, it's too cold. And in the springtime, when the weather's just right, you find someplace else to go. Well, it's up to the mountains or down to the beach or to visit some old friend. Or just to stay home, kind of relax and hope some of the kin folks will start dropping in. Well, the church benches there are too hard, and that choir sings way too loud. Boy, you know how nervous you get when you're sitting in a great big crowd. Now the doctor told you better watch them crowds. They'll set you back, but you'll go to that old ball game because you say it helps you to relax.
Well, a headache Sunday morning and a backache Sunday night. But by work time Monday morning, you're feeling quite all right, Harry. While one of the children has a cold, pneumonia, do you suppose? Why, the whole family had to stay home.
Just to blow that poor kid's nose. Excuses, excuses, you'll hear them every day. Now the devil, he'll supply them if from church you stay away. When people come to know the Lord, the devil always loses. So to keep them folks away from church, he offers them excuses.
Well, the preacher, he's too young, and maybe he's too old. The sermons, they're not hard enough, and maybe they're too bold. His voice is much too quiet, like sometimes it gets too loud. He needs to have more dignity, or else he's way too proud. Well, the sermons, they're too long, and maybe they're too short. You ought to preach a word with dignity instead of stomp and snort.
Well, that preacher we've got must be the world's most stuck-up man. Why, one of the ladies told me the other day.
Why, you didn't even shake my hand.
Excuses, excuses, you'll hear them every day. Now the devil, he'll supply them if from church you stay away. When people come to know the Lord, the devil always loses. So to keep them folks away from church, he offers them excuses. So to keep them folks away from church, he offers them excuses. Thank you.
We have another added attraction here tonight. And, oh, Jim, right up here. Yeah, that's where you belong. And,
Have your seat.
a lot of people.
Watch this. I've never seen us.
He's lucky.
I can't believe people come to hear us.
We got an added attraction. A lot of people don't know that we actually had a band member with us all this time in those 4 years.
Now I'm going. You didn't bring him along.
Yeah, I did.
Why?
Well, I forgot to tell you. You know, I didn't have time.
Why didn't you tell me?
Well, you know, I was at school.
We're at home. We can't do this kind of thing at home.
But I asked him already, Jim.
You done shot 2.5 years when you came out. Here goes the next 5.
Well, Jim didn't know this, but we have an added guest, and I really wish, Jim, you know, you'd announce him so you
Is Clem here?
comes here.
Clem? Clem? This is the guy that does all the background music right here. He's our band. Make welcome, Clem Hammerschmidt.
Let's hear for Clem. Yeah, Clem Messerschmidt.
Hey, go ahead, you can just keep that up a while there, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys really pulled one over on me, didn't you? You said... He said, just come on up, there's going to be just a handful of people. It's the biggest darn hand I ever seen, I want to tell you. I suppose some of you people out there think I'm going to stand up here and pick and sing and make a fool out of myself. Well, I have news for you. I don't have to stand up here and pick and sing to do that. Now, I know I have about 3 or 4 friends out there and about a half a dozen relatives, and after I'm done butchering this up, I probably won't have them either. Like Jim said here, I've been with the Southern Winds now about 4 or 5 years. You can laugh, lady, you ain't up here. And these boys, I mean, they perform everywhere there is to perform. Now, I know many of you don't know this, and I've been with them, and we've been doing mainly churches when I go along. And I mean, they performed in every country that is friendly to our country. They performed places like Germany, Sweden, Russia, and they performed in some of the biggest auditoriums this country has. They performed in Carnegie Hall. Now, I know you find that hard to believe. Believe me, it's a lie. No, they performed at some of the biggest fairs, some of the biggest carnivals there ever was. They performed Beavertown, Beaver Springs. Yeah, I mean, some of the biggest places. But here, not too long ago, we put on a service at a little church, sat up above a little town called, no, maybe I better not give the name of town. I'll just tell you, it was in the hills of Kentucky. We just got back from there, and I'll tell you, we ain't never seen anything like that before. Now, this little church in the hills of Kentucky had been writing us for months to come there and sing. And our agent said, if you ever get within 100 miles of that place, go. We did. We pulled up in front of that little church, and this church was over 100 years old and never even been painted. We went inside, and they had 3 drop lights come down out of the ceiling. We had to run drop cords a half mile down the road just so we could plug in our amps. Now, when we pulled in front of that church, I told these boys here, I said, man, are we going to have a time tonight? I just knew that little church was full of spirit, and it was, honey, it was. I mean, we went in there, and we played about 3 songs, and after we played about 3 songs, I mean, the people in that church, they was a hooping and a hollering and carrying on. I never heard so many people in one church shout so much. And in a little while, they had shouted themselves right in around behind us. 3 ladies and 2 men. Now, I'll tell you what, when we went in there and we was hooking up our guitars and amps and stuff, we seen some boxes and some curtains behind us. We didn't know what was in there, didn't even care. But in a little while, these 5 people came out around us with 5 of the biggest rattlesnakes I had ever laid my eyes on. I like to die. Yeah. Now, I tell you what, those people told us in that service, the biggest rattlesnake they had was 5 feet long. I want to tell you something, honey. The one they brought by me was 27 feet long. Now, I tell you, I was there trying to pick and sing, and this lady, she come up and she stopped about 2 foot from where I was trying to pick and sing. I didn't even know what key I was in. And she took that rattlesnake with the head on it, as big as your fist, and she held that rattlesnake right down in front of her face, and she shouted in that rattlesnake's ear. That is, if rattlesnakes got an ear. And she took that rattlesnake and she wrapped it around her neck. She pulled it off and she threw it down on the floor, kicked off her shoe, took her bare foot, stuck it right on top of that rattlesnake's head. Well, now I want to tell you something. When she threw that thing down on the floor, its tail missed my foot by about that far. And I'd done a little shouting myself. And she thought I was in the spirit and brought me one of them. I got to tell you people,